Hey guys, it's been a minute here since my last video on YouTube. Been like a year or something like that. So I think it's a good idea to get back and do this unscripted behind the scenes video of my latest project called the Dead Space Heavy Advanced Suit. And really dig in and break down and discuss the big parts of this project here. So to start, this was a really rocky project and I didn't really record any of the process, but I did save a lot of the iterations of the design itself. So we're gonna jump through and go through those save files and cover all the struggles and the small victories and all that stuff. I started this project way back in January 2022 and then I completely stopped working on it in October that same year. So instead of leaving this unfinished project to die on my hard drive like a whole lot of projects, and I think a lot of people can relate to that, I decided to throw it on to my ArtStation and other social media. So hopefully you will like this type of a video from me. I've never properly done this before, so just let me know if you want more of this kind of unscripted and all that. So without further ado, let's jump into this mess. Alright, so we're going all the way back in the timeline. It's January 2022 and I was sitting at my desk and I was thinking, I always wanted to do a Dead Space fan art, something cool, something, people are going to be looking at like, whoa, that's fucking amazing. So I sat down and I looked throughout Dead Space 2 and I was like, okay, what kind of suit should I do? Some people have been doing the engineering suit quite often, doing amazing results, and that's great. So I looked online and I didn't see a lot of fan art from the most famous one, the advanced suit, and I think it's very hard to fan art off because it's very minimalistic and it's very sleek, and I don't know, I struggled a lot at the beginning of the project I tried to match just the design of the suit to my design, so I kind of lost my kind of touch, really. Like my ideas weren't really sticking and I just ended up at the beginning copying just the advanced suit from Dead Space 2. Really one-on-one, really, just with small minimal changes, which wasn't really that effective. So here is day one. Look at that, that's just amazing. Look at that, that's just, yeah, there we go. So that's 1 hour in, or something like that. That's, I think that's middle of January, when it started. And it's a total mess. It's just a blob, really, with some coloring. But it was fun. I was really excited, and it was just nice starting the project itself. And then, you can see, like, on the left here, I'm gonna be having the advanced suit itself from Dead Space 2. And you can see that it's kind of similar, but it's very off in a way. So that's day one for you. Then the journey continues to day 2. So that's the one on the right here. That's day 2 for you. So it's quite still very basic, and that's what you want to do at the start of your project. Just throw those ideas out there. Try to get it out. Nail it down in those blobby forms. Don't go too much in details. It's nice to add a little bit of color just to block out just those smaller detail groups, something like that, like, hey, it's future reference. It's kind of like putting a note like, hey, I'm going to be adding a big detail group here, so it's nice to add a different color accent to that area. They plan to add detail or, different kind of design forms to that area. So that's day 2, and you can see it's really still really simple and it's still really safe, and at the time I didn't really know where I was taking this project, and it's kind of funny, seeing this start and seeing where the project ends. And then moving on from day 2 to I think this was it took a couple of days of refining. So I took the helmet itself and started refining it, and you can see how it's really basic and very stylized, and I didn't really like what I was doing, but I kept doing it anyway because I didn't have any direction and I didn't really know what I was doing, so I just kept moving on and just refining this area. It looks okay, but it's nothing too crazy, and that's not what I was going for, and it's really safe. And at this time, it was like maybe 1 week into the project, or 1 week and a half. I hadn't showed this to many people, but I just told them I was working on a Dead Space advanced suit, and I wanted to do it really cool. So I started. I sent my friend a message, and I asked him for feedback, like, how can I make this cool? And his first reaction was like, "Oi, mate! What the fuck is that? What the actual fuck? What are you doing? You could do a lot better than that. The design is like all over the place. The advanced suit? No, that is not fucking advanced at all." So after that brief pep talk from a friend and some feedback session, I decided to completely scrap the project and start from the beginning, because I always had that feeling when I was refining the helmet, like, this isn't good enough. Like, what is this? I'm copying. It's too safe. It's too blocky. It just isn't that great. After that, like, I took some break from it, and then I jumped back into it after some thinking and, like, trying to figure out, like, okay, what should I do? I gathered some more reference, and I checked out other suits from the Dead Space series, and I was like, hey, the winter suit from Dead Space 3 has some nice elements to it. So I'm going to put that on the screen right now, so you can see what I was thinking, and this is the results of that. It's just a totally different helmet, so I just merged everything, all the subtools of the previous one, and I made this one instead. So that's a good idea if you don't like something and it's already in too many pieces and you're trying to design it better, just merge the folder and then just go crazy. Try to different designs and all that, So that's what I did here, and I tried to keep, so you can see it has elements of the Dead Space 3 helmet, while also keeping that Dead Space 2 advanced suit kind of feel. And I think, it was a very sketchy one, and I just did the helmet. The body didn't change at all, but I was really happy with this result, and I was like, hey, this is something here. I finally got something. It was finally something going on, really, for the project, because I had just been going in a circle for 2 weeks now. Moving from that small victory with the helmet, I decided to just renovate the whole suit, and I was like, hey, what about we do like a heavy advanced suit? So I did that. So you can see the changes. It's just like a whole different design. So I think that was like maybe 2 or 3 days, just kind of going through it. So you can see like before and after. You can see it was much more in line with the helmet, the new helmet. And I was really happy with this direction by just, he's a chunky boy, right? And at a time, I wanted to give this guy robotic legs. And that was an idea that never really came to fruition or something like that. But I really liked this direction. It was nice because it was nice having that opposite to the advanced suit while having some elements to it. So it wasn't a straight copy from that suit. It was a mix and match from a bunch of them, and this one kind of spawned from it. So I was really happy where this direction was going, and you can see it's very rough still, but you can see just all the elements out there, and they're ready to be cooked further, as you would say. So that's basically the design process. I just do it like roughly, just like one piece at a time. Try to keep just one subtool, so you can see like the chest is just looking like this. And it was just nice trying to get those details in there, and planning like, hey, that's a detail group, that's over there, that's where that shape goes. So it was nice getting that general feel in there, and then it was time for breaking things apart and detailing it even further. So I don't really properly remember when I started refining the helmet and breaking it apart and detailing it and like figuring it out how it works and all that. But I remember just taking a quick break from the project after sketching the whole thing. So I don't know how much time passed, but this is the next part of it. So you can see it's a big jump, like the helmet is basically completed. It's 79 parts, and it's quite, this is quite the leap, but you can see the before and after of it, and you can see it's the same helmet, just upgraded, just a bunch of, like it has the same general initial ideas, but just it's more fleshed out, and it was nice getting the helmet done, because then I was like, hey, yeah, now we got the ball rolling, and now I know what I want to do for the rest of the suit, and that was the next undertaking. So the next big leap in the project was the chest area. So here's the sketch one, and here is the completed one. So that one was quite a challenge because I had a lot of rough parts, and it ended up being 107 parts in total. And what I do really when I'm moving from sketch to refinement stage is I just basically just mask like those little parts out, and then just rip them from the general sketch itself, and then just build upon that and add details to that and try to interject it with every other part, and see how it fits all together. Sometimes you remove some elements or add more to it. So you can see here from the top of it, it's a bunch of parts and some rest areas as well, of course, because I didn't want to make it too overwhelmingly detailed, and that's important. You want to have these kind of clean areas that have like a little bit of some flow going on, but not too overwhelming, so you have these kind of detail groups over here and all that. And I was really happy with the back area of the character, especially the stasis unit. You can see, if I go back to the sketch, you can see it's very rough, so I had a lot of room to play with it. And but you can see the sketchy idea at the start is still there. Just you build upon it and refine it, and then you figure something out, something new, and you're like, hey, that's cool, kind of want to add this, and then you just take it from there. So it's still the same, but same but different in a way. So the next checkpoint, I worked on the codpiece and arms, and just a bunch of smaller areas. So you can see, going from that previous one to this one, you can see the arms update in a quite big way, especially the forearms. I had this kind of a shielding over here to this area, which I didn't have previously because it was kind of exposed and kind of weird. And you can see the codpiece and updated. I really like this detail, and I kind of worked on here, and it's in the back and the front. I wanted to have that cohesive, and you can see like the top, it has those kind of installments here, and it was fun working on the shoulder piece and the forearms. It was quite the challenge too, trying to make it so you could remove this area, so it would split into two. So you have that little function there. A good thing to keep in mind is to apply functions to areas to help you design them, but don't overcomplicate it or overdo it, because then you could kill the creativity of that piece. This here is the last project iteration. So you can see here I had already removed the robotic leg idea by here, and it was just a complete blob. So if I jump to the last iteration of the suit, you can see it's a big jump and it's very sketchy. So I do that from time to time. If I'm not happy with the ideas, I just remove it, add blobs to it, and like, hey, what about this? And then, like you've seen previously, I then work on that until it's complete. So this is where the project remains to this day. So unfinished legs, he has no gloves, and the undersuit is not finished. I might finish up this project someday, but I have no plans to at the moment. And like I said before, this was a really fun project to tackle, and I have learned a lot from it, even though this was like the rockiest project ever. I really hope you enjoyed and got something out of this behind the scenes video. There are more renders of it on my ArtStation portfolio page, if you want to see more of the details of just renders of the project itself. So thank you so much for watching this, and let me know if you want more of these type of unscripted videos. Catch you later.